vacation a lot, which cracks me up, because when you go to lay off people, if you don't have the money to pay them out, you're in trouble. You have to book your payroll liability as far as those hours of sick leave. Should Leslie get sick for a month, you know, even though her month is a part-time month, that way you've got that money. You can go out and hire someone. Or vacation. Say she left and she didn't take any vacation, she had 60, 80 hours. You take it off the balance sheet rather than putting yourself over budget, you know, in the payroll category. So, you know, it should be booked annually.
It needs to be a policy that people are encouraged to take vacation again, so you're not accumulating all that liability.
Also, encouraged to not come in when their dog's sick, but we do.
Exactly.
You know,
there's probably a way that we can have a policy around this, yeah. I don't like the idea of just blanket carrying over sick day. You know, rolling it over, rolling it over.
Mm-hmm.
But if there is, we can kind of look. I mean, we've got what, 2 half-time employees for crying out loud. We can. I would think maybe look at it on case by case.
Yeah, you have to basically roll. You have to basically roll it over, because, in other words, like in the olden days when they said you have to take your sick leave in a calendar year, that means if you get sick in January, you haven't got an hour.
Yeah.
Usually they change to, you know, they cap it at 100 hours or they cap it at 80 hours. In other words, you only accrue to this much.
A max. Okay.
And, you know, I think that's adequate to think that, you know, on a part-time level, you know, if somebody was sick for a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you know they have SDI after that.
We are compassionate, and as I say, there are 2 people involved, and if anything happened, we'd figure it out.
Well, there may
have a cap
people involved, so
yeah, right.
You know.
But yeah, I know.
Okay.
Okay, we don't need to.
We're good.
Policy. Okay, and Employee Compensation District Administrator.
Well, have you decided anything as far as what you're recommending for the? Is this what you're recommending?
Minutes. Okay. Okay. So vacation. What do you want to do with year 1?
Well,
what do you think? I'm asking. Yeah.
Well, the normal, I was looking at what you wrote, and that's.
But what Diane has seen is different. Is the 10 days after.
Well,
6
you
months.
know what? Here's the difference. In the food industry, in the construction industry, the 5 days does apply. But yeah, in 35 years of employment, I've never had less than 10 days ever. Not even my first job. In the past 20 years, I've never had less than 20 days. But that's management. And that's normal for management. You know, we are very light on the benefits, but what I'm saying is I have no issue with the 5 days first year.
Okay.
Leslie and I are far beyond that, obviously. And secondly, the next person we'd be hiring would be in the restaurant industry if we so choose to do that.
Oh.
So that is kind of standard. So why don't you just go ahead and go with it?
Okay, so we're okay. They're going to paid holidays currently. They have 4. This would mean if half-time would be 6. And
No, it's 4 prorated. So that's only
4 prorated?
Correct.
Oh,
4 8 hours prorated to our hours. So we're getting like
I was in the meeting where I agreed to that.
You know, like a half an hour a month.
Okay, alrighty. Okay,
prorated.
we're on with that.
Okay.
And sick days.
What are we going to go to?
We're going to go to the 12 floater.
12 prorated.
Prorated, yes.
Yes. I mean, it's
they are
accrued by
and they're
our
floaters
hours.
Because obviously
We're
they're working.
Okay. To work, many of them.
And we've decided not to address short-term disability now. Under the sick pay, we'll
recommend a cap?
Yeah, I recommend a cap of 20 days maybe.
Well, we can't go by days, we need to go by hours.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
20 days, 100.
I would say 100 hours.
100 hours is also like a good.
Okay.
Okay. And we can stipulate, I'll write up a policy and we can stipulate that this is intended for and requires, you know, doctors, Okay, good. Okay, district administrator. Okay. Okay, so Diane,
Can I start this
No.
whole conversation just to make one comment? I think that sometimes, your approach at the issue wasn't my intent, and that's what I wanted to make clear. My whole intent, as I tried to communicate to you, is the fact that this district has no process. In other words, all the other districts and all businesses annually, just annually,
Yeah.
look at compensation in general,
Yes.
just as we've done. We've never, it doesn't occur to anybody. It's not, no consideration's been made.
Well,
And all I'm saying is that's the only issue that I think that is really important is that, like Russian River, every year, December, they review compensation, period.
Right. Okay,
It's
well,
on, it's on the board agenda.
I got it. Well, you
Okay.
got me thinking, so,
Okay.
yeah.
That's the only thing
Yeah.
I care about.
Okay, anyway, yes, I agree there should be some procedure. Doesn't necessarily have to be all done in December. In fact,
We just pick a month.
merit increase or March or something like that, so there's plenty of time to adjust for the budget. But annual review based on hire date is always kind of easy. Anyway, let me read this for those who are, okay, looking at the survey, there weren't any good job matches for the district administrator, but the controller finance manager represents the highest level of duties performed, so I used that. And looking at other elements of our DA's responsibilities, they were paid much lower. So I peg a salary range of $25 to $37 an hour. And my methodology is looking at the participants in the survey. I think, we are in Region 3, which tends to be, it's North Bay, so it tends to feel higher paid than some of the other regions in there, but it really is skewed by some of the really large districts, water utility, etc. So I looked at data for districts with revenue of 250 to 500,000 K, you gave me that number, and 5,000 or less customers served, and I aged that data at a 3% predicted range movement since the data survey, which was a year ago. And the result was a full-time annual salary of $52 to $78,500 for that job. And yeah, I have no idea what you're currently paid. No idea.
Well, no, it doesn't matter. That's not the point.
Okay.
As I said, it's
So what do you think
Quite.
about this?
I like your facts and figures. It's pretty interesting reading.
Yeah.
Someone's done some research, which is good.
you got the whole CSDA survey.
Yeah, I've actually enjoyed all your handouts, I gotta tell you, because they were pretty well done. But are we talking now about making some changes? Are we talking about?
I think it's time for a performance and salary review for a district administrator.
Well,
Okay, how long have you been here?
Her March is her.
One other thing though really is I honestly, because I do the budget, I really do think that I do think that a policy to say every March is too late, every January,
Yeah.
compensation in general, COLA, everything is just looked at.
Yeah.
Just
Sure, new year, new.
Yeah.
go up, go down,
Yeah.
whatever.
And my
So I
preference
would
is for
like-
a merit increase rather than COLA, because that's usually,
Yeah, but I would like
yeah.
them
Well, the
to
policy-
basically make that, because if you just, that's,
That's what we're saying, is
Okay.
now's our chance to make one.
it just takes us so, it goes from one month to the next, and it
Yeah.
skews our budget, and it makes it hard.
Yeah, we need to do something.
Okay, for performance review and
Right.
comp, review manual.
How long have you been here now? 2 years?
Yeah, and like what's really hard is reviews are really difficult in a situation such as ours. I mean, we do not have, in other words, you don't have any involvement really in day-to-day business. Not much oversight as far as
Look
the
at
staff or
results.
the,
Yeah.
all you can look at
We'll figure it out.
with me per se would be, results of the district.
Yeah.
With Leslie, you don't know at all. I mean, not
No.
really, except
No.
seeing her wandering around out there,
We'll figure it out. There's a way. Yeah, and just probably I should have said this, that since I'm being filmed, is that I have never had a public discussion going into this detail in my many years in personnel, and it's taken me a couple months to get over it. But I think this has been productive, and I don't want to get into, some of the details. But I would like to, it'll spew out of my brain a little policy for us that I think would be fair, and hopefully address the issue of, the board volunteers not involved on a day-to-day basis, but, self-evaluations, things like that.
Okay.
Okay, third thing, are we done with this?
Yeah, I think we're pretty close, yeah.
Okay.
Third.
So we agree that that's the range, and we'll be
Yes.
looking at your salary in relation to that, and if it's a 50% increase, we'll figure, you're not getting it all at once. So,
No, I mean, that's not what I'm even,
I know.
no, I'm not looking for that.
I know, I just want to do right.
I mean,
That's what we're trying to do, is do right by
I've done
everybody.
my career. If I was looking for that, I would not be working.
I know.
You see.
I know. Okay, and then the next agenda item is yours, the food service position.
Yeah, we're
This is another situation.
coming up on a timeline.
Okay, this is another situation that, could go either way. Like, what are we going to do with Creekside Park? My feelings are with the problems, in what I can glean as far as past history, we've never resolved the beach concession issue. It's never worked. When I look back at actual revenue that we've ever made on the food side of concession, with what I can glean out, it is so minimal, like $400 or less.
Yeah, we don't make money.
Last year we made like $400. If you really look at, our expenses and the headaches are insane. We do have a significant, we're going to have a significant shortfall, I think, in the beach revenue this year, due to many factors. So I think it's just something that we have to address, and if we can find a break even and pull it back and do it ourselves, we can hopefully build upon that. I'm meeting with John Lester and Richard Lester and John Genovese tomorrow. They are, Coffee Bazaar folks, so they understand this business very, very well. I really want to talk to them about, margins relating to food service, Coffee Bazaar-ish operation at Creekside. And what I've done here on this spreadsheet is, this is like a really worst case conservative estimate as far as overhead and costs. And the biggest unknown to me, since I'm not from the restaurant industry, is the food costs. I used a market average, whereas I've come to find out, and I'll probably have more confirmed tomorrow from John and Richard, our food service on the beach and in the cafe, coffee house, fast food type of business, food costs really range only in the 20%. It's a high margin business. Mm-hmm. So what I'm saying is, we could actually look to finding ourselves another revenue source. I mean, suppose that location is killer. We could siphon off a lot of those drop-ins at the Coffee Bazaar, which is harder to get in and out of in the morning than that would be for people who are commuting on down, cappuccinos and breakfast items. And then in the summer extending to, paninis and chili and, pretty much the same offerings that they have down there. Now, when we're in a situation where our tax revenue is dwindling, I think it's something that we really need to look at, and I don't see that it can hurt us to give it a try. We haven't had any success with concessionaires. It's our face and our brand, and I tell you, the beach last year was a nightmare as far as, what kind of stress overhead I get to deal with because of all the different pushbacks going on down there, and then the complaints from the public. So
I think it's a good
this is
idea
an
to have
environment
a
we
restaurant
control.
manager type person that
Well,
oversees both things.
We've seen through the years that we have to. It's come to the point we have to.
Yeah.
Everything
I
else
think
hasn't worked.
A, we have to. B, we are finally in a position that we're stable enough to actually do it.
Yeah, and so we should
And
take
if we
advantage.
fail, then we do the other thing next year.
Yeah.
Because every year it's been seat of the pants to the last
Yeah.
minute, and
When is Creekside of June?
No, I'd say we might be 30 days out. And as far as our food services manager, we need that person. They could be in there today, planning, stocking, menuing, scheduling. I mean, I don't have the expertise in that industry. I don't know if any of you do, but scheduling staff, supervising that level of staff, front of the house, back of the house.
We agree.
Well, let's do it then. Let's see if you get out, see if you can find us someone, and
Okay.
for the next board meeting, have something in line for us, which is only 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I'm gonna start looking. I mean, I have a few people in mind. Like I say, I'm gonna meet with John and Richard tomorrow.
Can they help you, like, come up with
Yes.
job description and
Yes.
contracts and stuff
Absolutely.
like that?
Okay, well, good. Come
And
back
if I can
to
help
us.
with that,
Hopefully you'll have something for us for the board meeting, we can make a decision on an action item.
No, I will. I
Good.
will. You bet I will, because I can't wait. I mean, I don't
Okay.
want to be in May
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I
Well,
always am.
let's do it.
You had someone who had a question?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yes, Madam Chair, you're doing a good job. So is Diane, so is Steve, everybody's doing a good job here. Just a question on the sheet here.
Yeah.
The gross revenue, or the net revenue on food is 483. These figures on beach gross revenue, these whole columns, that's just relative to the rentals?
No. That's food only, because I backed out. In other words, I know what that concessionaire paid us that was, per se, 4% of his gross.
Okay.
All right? So if you back out the numbers, I know how much he made.
Okay, so he made 20,000.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. For food.
What's COGS?
Cost of goods sold?
Oh, right.
That's
Sorry.
actual food.
Yes, sorry.
So my further question is then, if you do this analysis, I think that's probably, if you're not getting any bites on the Creekside as far as a contract, and you do look at the idea of having a food service manager, I think that's an appropriate time to keep your labor costs down on, you could feather in, you know, at one time when the beach was all together.
Exactly. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, so your employee is not lollygagging around waiting to rent one canoe. He can also work on the food.
Oh, no. There's no crossover between the food and we can't do that. The food
Well,
and
That
then
has a
those
beach
employees,
manager.
the beach is
Okay.
completely separate.
What
we want to do, I mean, maybe that's fine.
I know what
for
you're
us,
saying,
but-
what we do is when things are slow, the staff goes home, you're down to just one person.
Yeah.
And we pick up staff as we get busier. But we tried the food handler, it doesn't work out.
Well, no, when you have a different contractor.
Yeah. Well,
But
we'll see.
it's all under the
What I'm
thumb of
saying is,
management.
it could help with the management side of the
everything.
low-level employees.
Of everything.
And also with having that over 18 person present on site, i.e. the cashiers are perfectly capable of running the whole schmear
Yes.
on a weekday. But they're too young
Right,
if
we
they're
need-
on their
we need
own.
adult
If
supervision,
it's our
yeah.
employee who's on the food side, they can supervise.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, even if you want to keep it separate from
We
1 year, I
don't
can
have to.
understand that. But then toward the idea of maybe feathering it in for some
Right.
economy of scale, if you have the right people
Yeah.
to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess we made the decision then. Go ahead.
Okay.
And you'll report back to us. And
Yep.
keep going, you're doing
Okay,
good.
and I'll come up with some policies, and if you need help, or, you know, my neighbor owns Cape Fear, and
Oh,
if you
yeah.
just want any other information
Right.
on that.
What I'm going to ultimately really need, depending on who we end up finding for this food services manager, is we really have to know and understand and get the right POS, because we have to have a POS at the beach and at Creekside, and that is what's going to be really, really important.
Oh.
We done?
Yes, ma'am. You wanna call the
Okay,
meeting?
let's
Adjourn.
adjourn. And it is 20 minutes to
I
12,
think we were
20
very
minutes.
productive today. Thank you, Diane, and thank you, Mary.
Diane?
Mary,
Yes.
can you